I think that it's critical that those of us that serve you do all that we can to ensure that you have the ability to live this time of your life with dignity.
I'd just like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules and your Saturday morning just to come and share this time with us and our volunteers. We have quite a few visitors today, so I'm just going to run over this really quick. We have Velma Johnson, who's a member of the Queens of Harmony, and her group, the Queens of Harmony, are in the back. And then Velma also has a table here of her family. We have Brian with Aaron Schock's office. We have representatives from Neighborhood House, from Southside Mission King's Kids, Thomas Jefferson, Hines School. We have Shanda Beasley that's here with her mom again this year. We have Lauren, who had come and did a presentation for us earlier this year. Our previous Foster Grandparent Program Director, Melinda, I don't know where she's disappeared to, but she's back there. And her sister Gwen is here as well. Our office assistant, which is Melissa, Donna Crowder, Miss Ethiel of Ethiel's Flowers. She's the one that did the flowers for us today. I hope I'm not overlooking anyone. We have a table of City Lift drivers and representatives. Anybody else that I missed? If I did, don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my head. Grandpa James Brickhouse, he's here with his pastor as well as his son. Donna Crowder and my son Justin, who's always helpful. And last but not least, my dear friend Ivora, who comes every year, but last night we worked very late. So I just want to tell you a special thank you for doing that for me.
I'm gonna lay down my bird down by the riverside. Oh Lord, down by the riverside. Oh Lord, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my bird down by the riverside to study.
It gives me great pleasure not just to introduce our 92nd representative. Yes, it is. Again, good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to not only introduce our 92nd representative, but my very dear friend. I told her I'm going to make us cry because every time we get together, it's just so wonderful. She exemplifies the word beauty. She's not just beautiful on the outside, but if you really get to know her, she really has a caring heart. She goes beyond, just beyond grace. Just one story, we were at a wedding. Now this is her wedding. She's running around. Are you okay? You happy? We're in Mexico now. Who's not happy in Mexico? Are you okay? You happy? I mean, she just, and the way she fights for things she believes in. She believes in fighting for seniors and those less fortunate. So that's why when I think back to when she first was running and we all was in the office making calls, and her mom, her biggest fan, was there just, you know, rooting us on, telling us what to do. The grace that she has to lose her best friend, her mom, and still pull through as she did, it wiped away any fears I ever had of doing anything because she took that on and still just was a pioneer to help everybody else, even in her own pain. So without further ado, I want to introduce my very dear, beautiful friend, Representative Jehan Gordon.
Good afternoon. You know, I'm no different. I knew I was in good company when I heard folks referring to themselves as crybabies. I said, okay, I'm in the right place. People tell me all the time that you're always somewhere crying. And, you know, I cry not because I'm in pain, but I cry sometimes because I'm happy. I cry sometimes because I get frustrated at the things that are happening in Springfield. At times I cry just because that's what God has given me to release the feelings that I have inside of me. I just cry. And so I thank God for that. I used to be embarrassed of that because I cried all the time. And particularly when I first got to Springfield, I'd cry, and I'd cry a lot. I cry because I drive home every night, and it's typically very late, and I drive down very early in the morning. And when I would drive home from Springfield, I would call my mom because I would talk to her about the things that I saw happening to people that need to have someone stick up for them, that folks that need someone to be their voice. You know, because a lot of these big companies and big businesses, they have a voice. And their voices are lobbyists who are paid big bucks to be their voice. But there are a lot of people who need to have a voice, and they don't have those lobbyists. So it's incumbent that those of us that serve and that take service to the heart, it's incumbent that we be that. And when you see some of the things that are discussed, even right now, with some of the Medicaid, with some of the things that they want to do with prescription drugs for seniors, some of it is unconscionable. I mean, there are some difficult challenges ahead of us. There are some difficult decisions that have to be made. But when you think about those of you who have worked all of your life, who have paid your taxes all your life, I think that it's critical that those of us that serve you do all that we can to ensure that you have the ability to live this time of your life with dignity. So oftentimes if you see me from now until the end of May when session is in, if you see me on TV, if you see me in the community and I'm crying, just pray for me because I'm fighting for you. And I really cannot emphasize how wonderful of a program this is. I became familiar with foster grandparents when I was attending not Cozy's, but St. Patrick's. the I would come in, and during lunchtime, I would see those red jackets, and it would make me feel so good. My mother had me later on in life, and I didn't have my grandparents for very long. So those of you that were at St. Pat's, that gave of your time, you have no idea what it did for me as a young woman, not as a young woman, as a young girl who just needed to have not just that love at home, but who needed to be within the confine of a school and have someone to give you that grandma or grandfatherly love. It was so important to me. And I think about young people and today that don't necessarily have the sort of mother that I had, what it is that you are providing our young folks. It's so important. So I want to thank you so much for doing what it is that you do, and thank you for inviting me to be here with you this afternoon. You know, we've all come here together today to celebrate your contributions to this community because they go endless. We also came to celebrate the fact that you can make a difference. One person can make a difference. Stephanie, you have done an incredible job with setting all of this up. It sounds as though you have been under a lot of stress, but you look beautiful. The tablescapes are wonderful. And you have done an incredible job picking things up. And when Stephanie talked to me about what the theme for this afternoon would be, it made me think about a lot of people individually. I won't name them, but there are ways that one person can make a difference. And typically when we think about one person making a difference, oftentimes we think about, you know, famous people that have made a difference. But the real concept of one person making a difference is each of us as an individual doing the little or a lot that we can to make a difference in the lives of the people that are around us. And as I was taking a look and remembering all of the places that you all go and all of the lives that you all touch and have an impact on, you know, foster grandparents are in District 150 school system. You're in Crittenden Center. You're in the neighborhood house. You're in the Southside Mission. You're at Westminster, just to name a few. I have had the opportunity to visit all of these organizations, and I can tell you that the staff and the children appreciate the time that you give. Many of those children would not have, many children would not have the ability and the opportunity to experience love in the way that you give it if you weren't in their lives. Many of these same organizations are facing funding cuts because, as we've been talking about the state, many of them are facing funding cuts. Many of them are dealing with unpaid and a backlog of bills. Many organizations have laid off staff members while still trying to maintain the same level of great service. During this difficult time, each hour you spend with your children, daycares, after-school activities, it makes a much bigger impact than ever before. At the same time, what you are having the ability to do by simply being there, your presence, by ensuring that each child receives the assistance that they need, it allows them to be successful. You are able to provide one-on-one assistance, and you're able to give love, wisdom, and guidance that our children they need so very much at times in times like this. While you may not realize it, every time that you walk into the organization, you make a much, much larger impact than even you know. It was once said, and I can't take credit for this, but it was once said that volunteering is the ultimate exercise in democracy. You vote in elections once, but when you volunteer, you vote every day out and about in your community that you live in because you are showing people that you are being the sort of community member that you want others to be, and people see that. When I see the good work that foster grandparents is doing throughout this community, I know that that is true. Every time you volunteer, you impact children and the family of those children throughout the entire organization. And through your work, you influence families, you influence neighborhoods, and you truly touch people's lives in a way that oftentimes you don't get credit for. I would be remiss if I did not add that the assistance that you provide also helps the state of Illinois. While legislators are dealing with a lot of big ticket issues right now, I have a sense of peace because I know that there are those of you that don't ask for very much, but give so very much. And the time and the wisdom that you're able to impart amongst our children, there's no way that we would be able to afford to repay you what we owe you because of what you give. The support that you provide to the community is compounded by the fact that you spend this time and don't ask for a lot in return. You give the same commitment to the youth throughout this entire community as you give the same amount of time to the youth in this community as many of our neighbors give to their careers. And when you think about what that means, you're giving the amount of time that other people are working to make a living all day long. That is so significant. You are dedicated to seeing that young people succeed. Oftentimes we have a lot of big discussions about things that we need to be doing in education. And to be quite honest with you, some of the things that we need to do are things that are being done right now. We just need to ensure that we're funding them properly. While you are providing the support to make our future brighter, you are truly improving the entire community. Every time that you change the life of a child, that's a child that's not getting involved in street life. That's a child that's not making the wrong choices but the right choices. That's a child that's going to go on to become a young adult, then an adult who's going to be working, who's going to be a tax-paying citizen that will then impart that same lifestyle onto their children. And we're breaking generational cycles. You're breaking generational cycles. Each time you assist someone in learning how to read, you are truly supporting the building blocks of life that will then help them later on in their life go on to college. Each time that you give a child an encouraging hug, and you have to be mindful of this because I know it may not seem like it, but each time you give a child an encouraging hug, you help them to gain the confidence that they need to follow their dreams. So many of our children do not have the confidence that they need, but you, because you are in their lives, you are giving them that. Each time you model good behavior or treat a child with kindness, you are showing them that there are alternative methods to violence in this community. You're doing all of that every day. So there is no doubt in my mind that the work that you do, it's essential, and it is what will create a stronger community, not just here in Peoria, but throughout the state. The Foster Grandparent Network is an entire community that has grown stronger and stronger as years have grown on in terms of the love that you all provide. Oftentimes when I've had the ability to spend time with you all during the Thanksgiving Day luncheon, I come and I never want to leave. I never want to leave because you all have become a family, and I see it. You have a special role as foster grandparents. The wisdom that you provide is unmatched. Some of my best friends, it's funny because when I was getting married last year, a number of like my soon-to-be sister-in-laws, they were wanting to plan, you know, the sort of things that girls plan when girls are getting married. And they said, well, who are your friends? And I was just going down the list of people that I consider to be my friends. And I'm 30, and a couple of them were, you know, in that age range. But when I really go down the list of who my friends are, a friend is not an associate. A friend is someone who I look to. A friend is someone who I go to for advice, someone who I can talk to. Most of my friends are in their late 50s and 60s. And so some of the young girls that were wanting to, they were wanting to plan some of that other kind of stuff. And they said, we can't plan that with the kind of friends you have. I said, we can do anything with my friends that we would do with your friends. I said, because anything that's not respectful, I really don't want to do it. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why I've made a conscious decision in my life to surround myself with people that were the age of my mother and older is because of the wisdom that exists. In doing the work that you do, you're not only making the lives better for the children that you see each week, but again, the families and the communities at large. Each time you teach and demonstrate kindness, patience, love, wisdom, these values spread throughout the entire community. One person truly can make a difference. You all are truly making a difference. The influence that you have on the community is explained in the name foster grandparents. The dictionary, Webster's dictionary, defines foster as to promote the growth or development of and to encourage. That is the very thing that you do every day with the children in your life. Your goal is to make sure that our children receive the support that they need to move to the next grade and not to be left behind. By providing extra support in the classroom or within the organization, you promote the development of the child and then help take them to that next step. You supplement the education that they are receiving and the teachers, and you supplement the love that the family is providing. That means that when your children go home each night, their parents can see the growth that they are making because of the time that they're spending with you. This may mean that they're able to read a book that they were sent home a little bit more fluently. Or it may mean that a child knows how to say those things that we were all taught, but they may not have been taught. Please, thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am, I sound like Carl Cannon. But it's real. It's real and it matters. And so many of our children don't have that, but because of their relationship with you, you're giving them, I know you're giving them that because it comes so naturally for you. Or a parent can see that their child is able to walk a little bit better, stand up a little straighter, and when they shake someone's hand, they look them in the eye because of the wisdom that you're imparting upon their lives. In all of these instances and many more, our children are able to grow and develop further because of you. With your encouragement and your guidance, they have gained the skills that they need to be successful, truly successful. With all the time that you dedicate to our children in the community, their achievements will come much more quickly because of what you've imparted upon them. Your grandchildren constantly have someone watching them and guiding them while they are learning these new tasks at every phase in their life. This means that you can reinforce that progress and that success. After establishing a strong foundation that you were able to help develop, our babies are able to go out there and meet the challenges of the world successfully. It may seem that you are focusing on the everyday tasks at hand, but you are truly doing much more than that. You are teaching each child what it takes to be successful. That means that each year that passes, your knowledge that was imparted upon them will never leave them. You are helping to teach our children what it means to be a part of a true community. This is a lesson that we all need to learn. Through volunteer organizations like Foster Grandparents that demonstrates the qualities that we see in the community, this makes not only the children that you have the ability to spend time with, but this also makes other community members realize that they could be doing a little bit more because they see what all you're giving. It creates a silent challenge among other community members that really do have a desire to be a greater part of the community. It is easy to become focused on the task at hand and not see the larger picture. But the truth of the matter is that everything that you do impacts the life of multiple individuals. As you continue to meet the daily challenges of your volunteer work, it is my true hope that you always remember that you make a difference every day. I want to thank you, thank you, thank you for all it is that you do, for your hard work, for your care, for your love, your affection, and for your wisdom. You truly, truly represent the best qualities that exist within our community, and through your dedication that you bring, our children throughout our community will be better because of the time that they have spent with you. Thank you all so much. God bless.